Welcome to the Calling All CattleWomen podcast. This podcast was created to share the stories of the American National CattleWomen and provide a look into the cattle community through the eyes of its ranchers and industry professionals. My name is Cheyenne Sparks, and I'm your host today from Oklahoma, but I have a special guest here all the way from Indiana, Miss Katie Kixmiller. Hello, Katie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here to talk about not only the Collegiate Beef Advocate Program, but your experiences in ANCW. So why don't you introduce us to yourself a little bit?
I am a fourth generation farmer from Southwest Indiana. We do row crops. We do grain-based like white corn, yellow corn, soybeans, and wheat. And then I grew up on a cattle operation. We did feeders and background them until butcher weight so that way you could feed local families and stuff like that. But we sold out when I was in high school. And now I've currently started the process of opening my own K squared cattle company. So that's coming soon. I'm very excited about that. And it's just been a journey getting back into the cattle industry. And I just have such a passion for raising good quality beef and feeding families, both local and families that I get to meet through the opportunities. So that's a little bit about me. I also graduated a year ago next week from Purdue University, and I have degrees in animal science and business. So that's what I do most of the time is just farm and will eventually raise cattle.
That's amazing. I love hearing all of your aspirations as a CattleWoman, not just as somebody that, is leading the youth of our organization, but to have you as such a role model for them. I love it. I'm so proud of you. So tell me a little bit. I know you shared you have this passion for beef. So is that what led you to ANCW? What was it that led you to become a member of the American National CattleWomen?
So, being from Indiana, we do not have a cattle women's organization. So, I hadn't really heard about it until I attended NCBA in Houston, Texas, which was, I believe, two cattle conferences ago, not including past January. So, it was 3 years ago that I went, and I went to this thing that I saw on my app that was the Emerging Leaders Luncheon. And at the time, Jody Jordan was the Region 1 director, and I had heard that she was from Rensselaer, Indiana, which is just an hour away from Purdue. And the whole purpose of me going was I was the president of Purdue's Collegiate Cattlemen, and I just wanted to grow our club and try to get connections and network to where I could have the ability to grow past the university and past West Lafayette and past the Indiana border. So I went and I realized that it was sponsored by American National CattleWomen, and that's they kind of did the little spiel at the beginning where they introduced themselves and they introduced the sponsors of the program. And I was like, oh, this could be really interesting. And then just as the lunch went on, I really realized how involved they are with trying to connect the youth to producers and to industry members. And I was like, this is something that I really do want to be a part of because I'm passionate about it. And at the time, there was no goal. There was the goal of opening my own cattle company, but there was no process of it being a college student. So I was like, maybe I can get in here, get some networking, meet some people, and see where it leads me. And it has done nothing but made my future flourish. So I've been very thankful.
I actually got to go to one of the first emerging leaders luncheons when I was a collegiate. We won't talk about how long ago that was. So to hear that legacy is still continuing, and also shameless plug, we are going back to Texas in San Antonio next year for CattleCon 25, and there will be another emerging leaders luncheon. So that's so exciting. I love to hear that because of my own connections, but also just to hear that program is really reaching college students. And look at you now. Now you're in charge of the Collegiate Beef Advocate Program. So let's talk a little bit about that and about CBAP and what they do. Can you give me a little bit of information on the program?
Yeah, for sure. But reflecting back to that emerging leaders luncheon, if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would have been helping putting it on and help organizing it all, I would have literally looked you in the eye and said you're crazy. But there was no way. So that's just how fast like life can change and opportunities can come about. Like I was just mentioning earlier that it's a year since I've been in this role. And it's crazy to think that it all started with an email. And I was like, oh, what is this program? Just like many of our listeners are probably not for 100% sure. So then talking about it, I would say that our Collegiate Beef Advocacy Program is a year-long term where a collegiate ages 18 to 24 that's enrolled in a higher university and a big influence on male or female. It does not have to be a female to be, even though it's sponsored by American National CattleWomen. So we want anybody that's very passionate about the beef industry. We have three main pillars that we focus on, which is beef promotion, beef education, and beef legislation. And then our advocates are required to put on campus events for beef advocacy. So just an example of our two advocates this year are Shaylee Tonagis from University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and then Britley Bowers, who's from Texas A&M. They both did phenomenal fall projects. Shaylee was focused on byproducts of the cow, and then Britley was focused on nutrition management, and they gave out recipes and how to involve beef into a heart healthy diet. And so they were focused more on the ag campus last year or last semester, but this following semester they're really putting the emphasis on people that are not directly immersed in the beef industry or agriculture in general. So we challenge them to go out and try to push themselves to talk to people that either don't fully understand the health benefits of beef in their in their diet, but that or give a realistic approach of how much that we use 100% of the cattle that comes in, and that people are using it in different ways, like the byproducts, for example, the leather, skins on softballs or baseballs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we really challenge them to do on campus boots on the ground, but they also get to do super cool things like travel the whole country. They've been to Worcester, Ohio, and they went to the Certified Angus Beef Youth Seminar Program where they got to dive deep into meat labs, which was phenomenal. And then they got to travel to CattleCon, which is in different cities every year.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then they have a whole schedule lined up for their summer of just going to different events and learning all that they possibly can. And then their last big focus is social media. So they have both a Facebook and a Instagram account that they manage where they put out facts and put out Mythbusters or put out day in the lives or just true like beef um, content for
Mhm.
people that are in the beef industry that they want to promote, or reach out to those people that aren't directly involved in the beef industry to where they kind of connect them to their world and they can kind of see what their world is. But upon completion, they do receive a $2,000 scholarship, and the term does start in September 1st and then ends in August 31st, so they can use it for that next coming school year. Um,
Great.
yeah, so it's very beneficial. We try to focus a lot. We try to work really hand in hand with college advisors and their presidents or their deans of their school, so that way that they know their kind of role. And then we also reach out to them and ask them what our advocates can do for them, because we know as I was a recent college grad, like I know how hard our animal science department pushes to have youth involvement in their administration decisions or be the face of their campus. So we really want to promote that in a positive way as well. So that's a
Yeah,
little
and
bit about.
that's just one thing I would say that is a great example of how this program is set apart. But what other ways do you feel like this program is set apart from other programs or internships that are within the industry?
I think that the biggest thing this program brings is, or concept, is the fact that the sky is the limit and there is no like regulation to what we tell the advocates that they can do. If they find if they find something that is they're passionate about and that, or that they lack knowledge of and they want to go learn more about, then we're going to figure out a way to send them there. We have one that's going, they split ways too. Like one is going to go to the Reciprocal Meats Conference in Oklahoma this summer because she's super passionate about the meat and the cuts and all the different um, harvesting processes. So, and then we have one that's focused on like marketing situations on how you can promote your ranch better and stuff like that. So we have different we can send them in different directions. Like you don't have to do exactly what we planned out every single time. Like we can go with the flow and send you different directions, and you'll learn literally whatever you want to learn about the beef industry. Like going to Washington D.C. in September to be boots on the hill with our program, that they get to go and talk to the people that are passing laws, the people that are affecting votes and stuff like that. They get to go and they get to make an influence on how they think and how they're going to approach that decision. And then you could go easily as going and volunteering at a local store, a local shop, and learning how to package meat, or how to um, promote a social media post for that, or what they need help with, or adding different like concepts, like because nobody thinks the same, so they can always approach a thing differently. That's really truly what I'm so impressed with this program, is that the sky's the limit. And if there is a will, then we're going to find a way to send them to learn whatever they need to learn to thrive in this position.
That is amazing because, you know, sometimes you get into these programs and they are very strict on what you can and can't do and where they're going to send you and things like that. So, having CBAP, where it's if you are really, really invested in specifically nutrition, you can focus on that. Or if you're really invested in BQA handling, you can focus on that as well. So, I love to hear about that diversity, especially when you're getting on these college campuses, the diversity of the students that they're being able to discuss these things with, it's high up there. So having the availability to focus on what you specifically are passionate about and grow in that in this program setting that does provide a scholarship is amazing to these students. So thank you so much for explaining all of that. Now, we talked about how great CBAP is. What is the application process? Aren't applications open right now?
Yes, applications are open for about I have to look at my calendar, 6 more weeks. They are going to close on June 1st. The application can be found on our website, ancw.org/CBAP. It's under the program tab on the homepage. They can also be found on all of the social medias, both American National CattleWomen and the Beef Advocates social media pages. You can email me directly at ancw.cbap@gmail.com, and I can send it to you. They're open until June 1st, and then we'll close them for review. It is quite an application, but this is a distinguishable program that we want passionate people and people that are willing to put in the effort to not only the application but for the rest of the year. Interviews will conduct virtually from July 1st to until completed, so probably July 15th, July 20th, however long it takes, but depending on numbers of application. And then we will announce our CBAP team for the 2024-2025 year on August 1st. So then they will go under an onboarding process for probably the month. That way they can connect with our current CBAP girls. This year they're 2 girls, and then past CBAP people, and just kind of learn what they're expected in their role. And then that's when they'll sign their contract. That's when they'll get their initial travel schedule, which covers both ANCW's winter and summer meetings. Those are a must. And then that's when they get to bring their ideas to the table. That's when they get to tell us what they're passionate about and what kind of program, like what kind of learning programs or seminars or conferences that they want to attend. And that's when we kind of make their schedule. And that's when they'll do their social media training and the Animal Ag Alliance training. And that's when that's kind of just the preparation to when they start their position in September 1st, which it kind of goes along with the school year.
Yes.
Um,
And with
that's
all
when,
that training, nobody's going into this blind. Like no matter what kind of
yeah,
experience you have, you are not going into this blind at all. So for me, if I was a college student hearing all of these things, I might be a little intimidated, but there's no reason to be because you guys give them so much training and opportunity before they get started.
yeah, 100%. And that was a big learning curve, as I've only been in this role for a year, that I learned we learned as we went last year the type of training that our advocates needed, and we kind of progressed through the year. But this next coming year, we're ready for just boots on the ground training, whether it's social media, whether it's time management, whether it's ranch management,
Mhm.
um, whether it's BQA and MBA certification. We are really going to put a focus on them being prepared and them knowing that they can set their own path in this course um, for the coming years. So that way, we're really focusing. That's why we kind of pushed application and pushed the deadline up a little bit. It was kind of awkwardly set, but now we're trying to get it to roll with the school year. And so that way, yes, they'll be in school full time during the year, but they'll also be prepared beforehand. So it'll be like riding a bike
Good.
throughout the school year. It'll just be a casual type of situation.
And I love that you brought up that you guys focus on MBA and ranch management because I actually know quite a few past CBAP program attendees, like the ones that have gone through this program. They're running their own ranches. They are high up within NCBA. They are manning different divisions of NCBA even. And so I'm so glad that you guys are still focusing on those things because I have seen so many applicants and people that have gone through this program go on to really achieve their dreams within the ag community and the ag industry as a whole. So I'm glad that that's still a really good focus of the program.
100%. We have past CBAP, or they were also formerly known as the National Beef Ambassadors. We have Ashley Evans, which was Ashley Huntsberger when she was a advocate. She serves as our co-director or our on our program,
Mhm.
and she helps me put into perspective just the type of situation like when she went through it in her year and how we really want the advocates to thrive during their year. Or Chandler Mulvaney, he works for NCBA, he runs the Grassroots Advocacy Program, and he was a great resource. We had a training with him over social media handling and all that stuff. And he was phenomenal. He met with our advocates this year for about an hour and a half Zoom meeting where he just hit the ground running. We're really looking forward to trying to set up a situation where our advocates can go out and learn from him in person or learn from people at NCBA or stuff like that. We're really trying to work hard on a seminar like that for the next coming years. So that way they can interact with the past advocates too, learn about what they did in their roles, learn about their on campus events because they did those as well, try to bounce ideas around. But yeah, it's been a tremendous, like watching the past advocates or ambassadors thrive in their futures now. There are people managing ranches, managing farms. There are people thriving as being vocal advocates for the beef industry, maybe on social media or or just in their hometown or attending events and being speakers and stuff like that, where they get to throw in the plug that, hey, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for this program, that it was kind of the starter. And that's what our program, we work aside states as well to try to go from their high school or their younger age state ambassadors or their
Mhm.
college age state ambassadors and try to lead them to our national program. So that way we want it to be kind of the next step. And then after us, there's the NCBA, the grassroots advocacy. They can go on and apply to be one of those. I think there's 5 or 7 or something like that advocates that they can go on and learn past where they're at just today. Like they think that this program ends and then that's when it ends. No, you get to be an advocate for life.
Yes, I love that. Advocate for life. So if you are listening, this is your sign that you need to apply for this program. Applications June 1st on the ANCW website. It's ancw.org. Like she said, under the programs tab. And Katie, I've got one more question for you. Just one thing I always like to ask the guests, and that is what is your favorite cut of beef?
Oh, there are so many good options. I love when people diversify the cuts too. But I think if I was gonna have to pick my favorite cut, I would just go with a good old sirloin steak. That's probably
Listen.
You can't go wrong there.
Can't go wrong. Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining us on the Calling All CattleWomen podcast, hosted by the American National CattleWomen. We're so thankful for all the time that you contribute to the Collegiate Beef Advocate Program, and we can't wait to see who is going to be our next Collegiate Beef Advocates.
Thank you.